Hey everybody, it's that time of year again where we're talking about my top picks for the comics of 2021, and this is going to be my top 10 ongoing list. I do have a couple of rules because there is, a lot of comics that come out throughout the year, so I do want to, separate them accordingly. So this is going to be my top 10 ongoing series of 2021. But first, please be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what was your number one for this year. We're going to dive right into my rules. I'm starting my rules off with this top 10. There must be 2 or more trade paperback volumes to be considered an ongoing series. If it is just one trade paperback, it is considered a mini series in my list. So unfortunately, series that only are collected into one volume cannot make this list, but I will have a top 5 mini series list as well. Also, you need at least 3 issues of a title must be released in 2021. So if, a bunch of issues came out in 2020, but only 1 or 2 came out in 2021, I unfortunately can't count that. There's just not enough issues to have been released in 2021 to be considered as my top for it. And also, I'm going to have a best event and a best one-shot, but that's going to be a part of my mini-series story later on. So we're going to start off with number 10. It's going to be Nightwing. So, starting off with Nightwing 78, Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo took the reins for Nightwing. Now, I'm not the biggest Nightwing fan. However, Taylor and Redondo made me really excited for each issue of Nightwing to come from then on. So, immediately when I started reading it off of 78, I was super enthralled and I was like, wow, I think I might be a Nightwing fan now. This is really, really cool. So Nightwing's back in Bloodhaven, and his drive to keep his adopted city safe has never been stronger. But protecting Bloodhaven is no small task, especially now that it's being menaced by Nightwing's most terrifying foe yet, a mysterious and murderous villain with a penchant for stealing his victim's heart, known only as Heartless. So that is pretty much the synopsis of the story. It starts it off and then it just dives deeper and deeper. Now the story, it maintains a fun-filled story mixed with tons of action and incredible moments with heart. Whether it's the relationship between Alfred and Dick, Dick and Barbara, Tom Taylor always provides moments of pure heart that moves you to a tear. And let's not forget about Bitewing / Haley, the dog. I mean, so cute, and I just love every moment of it. Now, the art is super unique to other comic books that released this year or even prior today, because Bruno really applies an old school polka dot feel with his shading to give it more of a pop art aesthetic, which I really, really enjoy. He also loves to leave little Easter eggs for big fans of DC to catch, which makes looking at each panel so much more fun. So, just for an example, and one quick little Easter egg is there's a coffee mug on the side where they're drinking, and you see on the coffee mug, you see the Adam West Batman and Robin climbing up, the building, and that's just something super small but really cool. It also makes that meme of Batman slapping Robin a part of this world, and I just think it's so fun to find those because you're really rewarded for taking in the entire comic. Now with my number 9. Number 9 is going to be Stillwater. It released last year in September, but Chip Zdarsky and Ramon K. Perez tackled a project unlike any other with this series. The synopsis is nobody dies. In the town of Stillwater, that's not just a promise, it's a threat. That's all you're given. And I mean, the story, Chip Zdarsky does an incredible job at blending horror and thriller while leaving you at the edge of your seat each issue. Usually there's a cliffhanger, and so you're constantly wanting the next one. With each issue, you become more and more invested with each character and really feel like you're becoming a citizen of Stillwater yourself. And I think that's a fantastic way of interpreting the story, because if you feel like a citizen yourself, you become worried about the other citizens. Will they escape? Can I help them in any way? It dives you in more and more. The art in this book is very simple and allows the characters' facial expressions to really move you. The art does not outshine the writing, which is perfect, and it really complements it and allows a more realistic feel. You do not need big fancy splash pages to grasp the concept of how real this town is. which I really enjoy. I love how simple it is. Sometimes simple is better, especially with this writing, because the writing is not supposed to be very big, explosive. It is supposed to be, you're in this town, you are, feeling nervous and scared, and what's going to go on, So I really enjoyed this book. Next up is my number 8 spot. It's going to be Philadelphia. This book released in November of 2019. Ronnie Barnes and Jason Shawn Alexander bring a new twist to the vampire tale. Originally, this title was number 9 on my list for the year 2020, so it moved up 1 spot. So, synopsis goes, when a small town beat cop Jimmy Sangster returns to Philadelphia, roots to bury his murdered father, he stumbles into a mystery that will lead him down a path of horrors and shake his beliefs to the core. The city that was once the symbol of liberty and freedom has fallen prey to corruption, poverty, unemployment, brutality, and vampires. There's a reason they say you can't go home again. Welcome to Philadelphia. So, for me personally, the story is unlike any other. I have read tons of vampire stories in comics and novels, and Ronnie Barnes really changes the way I look at vampires. Not only is it written beautifully to blend history, which I'm usually not a fan of, with very strong horror elements, and it really gets you going thinking about, the American culture and how, was this really like this? How did that intertwine? Did this really happen? And to me that piques my interest more and more. The art, the way the vampires are portrayed are so dark and violent. They really give me nightmares. Vampires are seen in very dark places lurking, but when they are in the spotlight, they're usually ripping people to shreds. It's so dark and perfect for the theme of this book. And I just find it so unique and different, unlike anything else. So I personally really enjoy Philadelphia, and I'm very glad it moved up on my list. Now for my number 7 spot, it's going to be Stray Dogs. This originally released in February 2021 and has gotten huge ever since. I mean, there's even going to be like a movie about it, got optioned. Tony Flex and Trish Foster do a fantastic job on this book. It was originally going to be a miniseries, but since it got so popular, they're extending it to multiple issues and multiple volumes. So I was lucky enough to put this in my ongoing series. So, synopsis goes, Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs. It's scary being the new dog. Sophie can't remember what happened. She doesn't know how she ended up in this house. She doesn't recognize any of these other dogs. She knows something terrible happened, but she just can't recall. Wait, where's her lady? So the story already plays off. Tony Flex is able to make the writing so unique by having the story be told through the eyes of a dog. Now, stories most of the time are either through the eyes of human or it's like a third-person narrative. So having it through the eyes of the dog, already super unique. We're feeling like we are the dog. Whenever the dog tends to have short-term memory loss, we, as the readers, feel fear for what is to come, providing some of the most extreme, thrilling sequences ever read. So I really, really, really love the short-term memory loss play on it. I think having that aspect mixed in with this, especially with the art, it makes it very dynamic and very unique. So Trish Foster is incredible by using a Dawn Bluth style aesthetic for the art. Dawn Bluth is a very popular 90s animation, did like All Dogs Go to Heaven and things like that. So having an old school 90s animation feel makes you feel happy and bright. By doing that, it provides a mixed contrast on how the story is told. Story, super dark. Art, very bright. You don't know how to feel. You're scared, you're excited, you think the dogs are cute, but you don't know if they're gonna die. And it is thrilling the way they write this. Plus, let's not forget about those incredible movie homage variant covers. I mean, there's been so many, and I've been collecting like all of them because I think they're so cool. So I am so glad Stray Dogs was able to make my top 10. And in 6th place, we have Noxtera. Noxtera originally released March 2021 this year, and I have been supporting this comic since March 2020 through Kickstarter. I had faith in Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel right away when I heard about this. I thought it was such a unique, interesting concept, and I really, really wanted to read it. So I was willing to pay my money for this book to be made. So 10 years after the world is plunged into an everlasting night that turns all living creatures into monstrous shades, the only way to survive is to stay close to artificial light. Enter Valentina Val Riggs, a skilled ferryman who transports people and goods along deadly, unlit roads with her heavenly illuminated 18-wheeler. So for me, Scott Snyder dives super deep in this comic by allowing the readers to get a sense of his biggest fear, which is the dark. And I think that's incredible, because being able to write about something that you are really emotional about really shows in your writing. And he's incredible at character development in this. That is one of my biggest themes in comic books and novels and movies, is it has to have great character development. Being able to love or hate a character is super important, and he does that incredibly well in this. Not only does it read at such a nice pace, but it dives deep into the characters' lives, so you immediately feel for them. You know what happened when it did get dark. You feel scared, or you feel excited for these characters when something is to happen to them. And with the art, Tony S. Daniel really plays with light and dark moments in the story, creating suspense along the way. So, when it's really dark, it's really dark, and you can't see. But when, the people are being saved and you're using the light, you have these big, shiny, bright moments, and I love that. He really carries unique post-apocalyptic ideas with the way the fashion and the cars would be during this time, providing a strange and unique world. That 18-wheeler that she drives, it's not just an 18-wheeler, it's decked out, and it has details, it has lights, it has skulls, it has all kinds of things, and just looking at that image really dives you more and more in this post-apocalyptic world. So that's going to be my 10 through 6. Stay tuned next week, because I'm going to dive into my 5 through my number 1 comic of the year. And then later on, I'll be posting the best miniseries as well. Have a great day.